Big visit weekend on the Plains. There's actually a lot going on in Auburn recruiting, and we're going to break it all down in this video. Auburn going on the offensive, working to flip a few commitments from other programs, but they also need to guard their commitment list. There's a couple Auburn commitments that are receiving heavy interest from other teams. We'll talk about that as well. Auburn fans, right now, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button to the On3 Recruits channel. We needed to get you guys on board. You're passionate bunch of fans, and we're here to talk some Auburn recruiting. We're going to start with some good news for you. Georgia, they lost one of their top wide receiver commitments over the weekend. On Sunday, Colquitt County 4-star wide receiver Nikar decommitted, put himself back on the market. Let's bring on Jeffrey Lee from Auburn Live for more inside intel on this. We're going to start right there with Nikar, longtime Georgia pledge, backs off his commitment on Sunday evening. It was a surprise to me. Might not been a surprise to you, Jeff, but was this primarily due to Auburn, or do you think he was just reopening his recruitment because it was time?
I think Auburn would certainly like to think it had a lot to do with Auburn. They have been on this kid extremely heavy since they got on campus, really. This was the turn of the year, the calendar year. He came in for an unofficial visit in January. Got great feedback from him. Marcus Davis, even Trevon Reed have been really heavy in recruiting this kid, getting Nike back on campus for the Big Cat weekend back in the end of July. And there was some positive feelings there after that visit. And so they were expecting him to come in this weekend. And when he made that announcement on Monday, then it was our Sunday. Very big news, very positive feelings in Auburn. I think it's Auburn, Florida State. I think you cannot discount Florida State. You cannot discount his friendship with Landon Thomas. Landon Thomas, of course, the 5-star tight end who flipped from Georgia to Florida State. Teammates, close friends. Can't rule out Florida State, but I think Auburn certainly had something to do with him opening up his commitment or his recruitment.
Now, this weekend, do you expect him on campus? And is it going to be an official visit, unofficial visit?
Unofficial visit. Auburn certainly expects him. I do as well. I've checked with several sources in or around his recruitment. I know there was a report out there about Colorado, but everything I've heard since Sunday was that Auburn expects him on campus this weekend for an unofficial visit, which is going to be big. I think they would like to get him on campus this weekend unofficially, bring him back later in the year, maybe even closer to signing day in December for an unofficial visit. So I think getting him here for an unofficial visit this weekend will be big. They're playing Georgia. It's going to be a raucous crowd. There's going to be a lot of recruits there. And, of course, Auburn has prioritized him, and he will certainly get the red carpet treatment this weekend.
Yeah. All right. So I was going to ask you when you thought his timeline for decision was, but if Auburn staff is looking to bring him in December for an official, we know that he's going to take this thing distance. I've been hearing the same thing as well. I don't think Nikar is in any rush to decide. Now, moving on to some other news, then actually, Jeffrey Lee, you broke this news. It's on 5-star A&M commitment wide receiver Cam Coleman. He's going to Colorado this weekend for the Buffaloes matchup against USC. Now, he also said he's going to take some other visits. When do we expect him at Auburn? Because he's an in-state prospect that made that July 4th commitment to Texas A&M seemingly out of nowhere. And now he's saying he wants to take some visits. When can we expect him back at Auburn?
Well, he was actually expecting to visit this weekend. He was expected to visit. Some of his teammates are coming up, Dalen Upshaw, Mal Waldrop, maybe even Red Morgan. But Cam decided to take that. And listen, this is an attractive visit for recruits right now. Going out to Colorado for the USC game, I've heard several guys going or wanting to go. So, but Cam's going to Colorado for that official visit. And I think he'll be in Auburn. I think the earliest will be the Ole Miss game, October 21st. But I certainly expect him to be at the Iron Bowl in November. And I think Auburn hopes that'll be his second game of the fall. They want to get him back on campus. He took an official visit back in June, so he's got only unofficial visits with Auburn left. But I think Auburn is optimistic they can get him back on campus, maybe for the Ole Miss game, the Mississippi State game, one of the two, if not both, and then maybe again for the Iron Bowl in November.
I mean, it sounds to me, and you talked to Cam, but it sounds to me like even though he's committed to Texas A&M, I mean, he's still evaluating his options. Is that how you see this?
Absolutely, yes. Josh, you know as well as I do, this day and age, commitments are they're not very solid.
Some.
Some, yeah, I think that's fair. As Hayes Fawcett put out yesterday, it's decommitment season.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but Cam has been pretty solid to A&M, but he's certainly checking out other schools. I don't know how legit Colorado is to flip him. I don't know. That I don't know. I do know he's taking an official visit. Is he going to have fun, experience that? I don't know, but I do think Auburn thinks they're a very legitimate player in trying in flipping him at some point before the early signing day.
Okay. Well, the next visit I want to talk about, I think, might be the most important Auburn visit of the weekend, and it's not happening at Auburn. It's happening at Texas. California four-star interior lineman, one of the best offensive linemen in the country, DeAndre Carter, who committed to Auburn already, is going to take his official visit to Texas. How should Auburn fans feel going into this weekend about DeAndre Carter's commitment? How's the start of college football season been for you guys? I know the games have been great, but you know what's not great? Finding last-minute tickets. Finding tickets before a game can sometimes be a nightmare, and do not let this be the way that your season goes. That's why I'm here to tell you about Game Time. It's the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the big-time matchups. Game Time will get you to this year's biggest college football games with elite deals on last-minute tickets and the best price guarantee. Do not stress over getting into your team's favorite game, the biggest rivalry game of the year. There's only so many games you can go to, and you need to get these tickets at the best prices. Game Time is the place for last-minute ticket deals. Forget planning months in advance. Guys are terrible at that. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Game Time, they have deals on tickets even after an hour after the game starts. It is the place to get last-minute ticket deals. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets on all sports and even concert events. So here's what we're going to do. Snag the tickets without stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code INSIDESCOOP for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use code INSIDESCOOP for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
A little concerned. I've told our subscribers, our members, anytime a commitment takes an official visit to another school, I think there's reason to be concerned. I think it's valid. But if you want to look at the bright side on this, DeAndre Carter had planned this visit before he committed to Auburn. He's told the Texas coaches he gave them his word that he was going to visit for this game, and he's holding to it. Now, behind the scenes, what is he telling Auburn? What is his family telling Auburn? They're telling Auburn the right things if you're Auburn. They're saying, listen, we're following through on our word, on our promise to go out there. We're going to fulfill that. But as far as we're concerned, you guys don't have anything to worry about. So I know that's probably status quo for a recruit taking another visit, but at least at least you're getting that from him and his family as well. They're pretty close. They've got a good relationships with Auburn. The family does. DeAndre does. So I think on a scale, 20% maybe I would be concerned. 80% I'd feel pretty good if I'm an Auburn fan.
Yeah. And now Auburn also landed one of his teammates and offensive line mates, Texas, landed Brandon Baker on Sunday. That was a big commitment for them. He's at Mater Dei High School along with DeAndre Carter. Now, Mater Dei has a ton of prospects every year. They all go to schools all across the country. So I don't necessarily think it's a package deal, but it is something to keep an eye on. Another Auburn commitment that there's some rumors swirling about, and that's Auburn cornerback commitment, four-star Jalewis Solomon. What's going on here with his commitment?
This is the guy I've had an eye on since he committed. Josh, I don't know if you were there that day he committed, but he woke up Saturday morning of his announcement. Chad Simmons and I were working on the batch. He was going to South Carolina. The graphics were made. The quotes were put in the graphics. It was ready to go. I'm on the golf course. And Chad's saying, "Hey, dude, you might want to, check out because something's going on." And so he went from South Carolina, then he flipped to Auburn before the announcement. He went back to South Carolina about 15 minutes before the announcement. Then his family was late to the announcement, delayed it an hour, and then he went back to Auburn, committed to Auburn. So our subscribers and members have been saying, who do you have on Auburn's flip watch? Who Auburn commits? And I was like, look, when this guy was so undecided. He was so unsure. They were so even, South Carolina and Auburn, the day of his announcement. He's certainly a guy you want to keep an eye on moving forward. And then he's tweeting out he's Xing out some vague comments about, not finished, and he liked Hayes's decommitment season tweet, X, whatever it is. So definitely a guy to keep an eye on as we move forward. He's anybody wishy-washy like that, you're going to have to keep an eye on.
Yeah, a wise man told me about 3 minutes ago that commitments aren't worth much these days. So I understand what you're saying now. All right, speaking about commitments not be worth much, KJ Bolden, he was at Georgia last weekend. Is he going to be at Auburn this weekend for an unofficial visit?
According to KJ, yes. His plans are to come into Auburn this weekend. So, do they have a chance to flip him? With the way Florida State's going, it's going to be tough. Let's be honest with you. And if anybody, I think Georgia, I think Auburn really does. I'd put them on the map at least, especially if he does make this visit, and he's expected to. But yeah, he told me he's coming in. He wants to see what Auburn has to offer this weekend and go from there. So it's a big deal for Auburn to get him back on campus since he was at Auburn the week before he committed. And now he's coming back. So that's a positive sign for Auburn to get him back on.
Okay. Well, we'll see how this weekend plays out. We are really just scratching the surface. Auburn Live has so much recruiting info right now. It's going crazy. Jeffrey Lee, we'll probably talk to you next week after this big visit weekend. Thank you for coming on the Inside Scoop to kind of set the table here.
Always enjoy it, Josh. Appreciate you having me on.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that content, be sure to subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. We have a new page dedicated only to recruiting. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now.